The fork stopped halfway to my mouth, not because the room went quiet, not because anyone raised their voice, but because my stepsister leaned into my mother's embrace and whispered something that made her body stiffen. I didn't hear the words. I watched the reaction. My mother's smile froze, delicate as cracked glass. Her eyes shifted, slow, unsure, until they found mine across the table. They didn't accuse, they searched. My stepsister pulled back, still smiling, still warm. She met my gaze and held it just long enough for me to understand. This was intentional. Dinner continued. Laughter, plates passing, my husband talking about work. The room moved forward as if nothing had happened, but something had already been poisoned. My mother excused herself early, citing a headache. Her hand brushed my arm as she stood. It trembled. That was when I knew. Not that something was wrong, but that someone had been working carefully, patiently, behind my back. On the drive home, my husband spoke about nothing. Traffic, deadlines, a joke he'd already told before. I nodded, watched the road. The whisper replayed in my head, not as sound, but as intent. Your daughter told me she wishes you were dead. It wasn't impulsive. It wasn't sloppy. It was designed to fracture something sacred. My stepsister had always known how to occupy space without claiming it. Helpful, concerned, loyal, especially after my father died and our family reassembled itself around loss. She listened more than she spoke, and lately she lingered around my husband too easily. A touch that stayed half a second longer than necessary, a laugh pitched just for him. I told myself it was nothing. I had been trained to doubt my instincts. That night, my husband's phone lit up on the counter while he showered. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. When he came back, his eyes went straight to it. Guilt never panics. It checks. I didn't confront anyone. I became observant. I watched how my stepsister spoke for me around my mother, softly reframing my words, my tone, my intentions. Always helpful, always subtle. I requested phone records under the excuse of a billing error, studied the patterns. Late-night calls, repetition, her number. I cross-checked dates with memories I'd dismissed, work trips, family visits, convenient overlaps. I smiled at dinners, complimented her cooking, kissed my husband goodnight. Inside, I counted. I booked therapy sessions for my mother and framed it as support, healing, care. After the second session, the therapist called me. She believes you resent her deeply, she said, that you've expressed violent thoughts. I thanked her and hung up. The lie had evolved. I ordered a DNA test, quietly, not for blood, but for proof. Hair from my husband's jacket, fibers from a scarf my stepsister left behind. Waiting felt surgical. When the results arrived, I felt relief. Madness ends when it's named. I invited my stepsister for coffee, neutral, bright, public. She arrived concerned, asked about my mother. I slid the folder across the table. She didn't open it immediately. "What's this?" she asked. "The truth," I said. She flipped through the pages. Her breath caught. A laugh escaped, sharp and wrong. "This is insane." I leaned forward slightly. "You told my mother I wanted her dead," I said calmly. "Why?" Silence. "You didn't want her angry," I continued. "You wanted her to replace me." Her composure cracked, not into regret, into fear. I stood, left money on the table, and walked away. Apologies are tools. I didn't need one. That evening I gathered them all, my mother, my husband, my stepsister. I didn't raise my voice. I handed my mother the therapist's notes, the phone records, the DNA report. I let her read. My husband tried to speak. I lifted one finger. Not yet. My stepsister unraveled first. Tears, excuses, loneliness disguised as love. My mother's face hardened as the story aligned. "You used my grief," she said quietly. That was enough. I turned to my husband. I knew, I said, for weeks. His realization landed heavier than anger. You stayed, he whispered. I observed, I corrected. I picked up my coat. I wanted you to understand, I said, that you were never clever, only predictable. I left while they collapsed behind me. I live alone now. My mother calls, apologizes without asking forgiveness. My stepsister vanished from the family like a lie exposed to light. My husband sends messages, long ones, short ones, regret dressed as insight. I don't respond. I learned something precise. Betrayal isn't explosive, it's patient, and cower doesn't come from confrontation, it comes from clarity. I don't miss who I used to be. She trusted too easily. I don't wish anyone bad. I simply removed their access to my life. And that, I've learned, is the most final ending of all.